Hey guys, it's Kelsey. I'm back with another scrapbooking process video, and today's prompt for Scraptember is hearts. So I'm just going to make sure I get a lot of hearts on this layout pretty much. I didn't want to do anything similar to when we had the star prompt. I really love the layout I did for the stars, but I didn't want to take this in the same direction. So I'm really focusing on papers that have hearts on it and ephemera that has hearts. But I'm not going to incorporate like a giant heart shape like I did with the stars. This particular layout is for Avery's baby album, and it's about his reaction to my cat. I occasionally have to shave my cat. She's very long-haired, and she's a senior, which means she doesn't groom as much as she should. So she gets stuff stuck to her sometimes, and it's just easier for her if I just shave her. So every once in a while I will shave her. I'll do this little line cut on her. I am not a groomer, but it does the job. So I basically shave everything except for her head, the tip of her tail, and like the lower half of her legs. And she just always looks so ridiculous. She is good for like half of the shaving process, and then she gets impatient, especially when I have to get down to her belly and stuff. But she always is extra snuggly afterwards because I think she feels so much better, and we pet her a lot more when she's shaved because she doesn't have stuff stuck to her. So I just wanted to document, this is the first time I think Avery has seen her shaved, and it was just kind of funny because he crawls around the corner of the couch and looks at her, and he just like stops like mid-crawl and just had this really confused look on his face. So I thought this would be a fun one to document for his book. That's kind of different than the other pages that he has. It's kind of a more random thing, but I thought it'd be kind of funny to include. So I am pulling out my Mind's Eye Meow collection. I have a whole paper pad of this, but it is very cat themed, so I don't use it a lot. But since we have a cat themed layout today, I figured this is as good a chance as any. I'm trying to pull out the extreme cat themed papers. There's a lot of like polka dots and asterisk stripes printed papers that are not cat themed that I'm trying to avoid using on this layout because I can use those for off theme stuff. Since we're doing a cat layout, I want to use the really cat themed stuff. So I wanted to use this small print cat background as a big mat around the whole page, and I liked that because it had a ton of hearts on it. And then I wanted to use the tone-on-tone pink meow text paper as the center portion just to give me a little bit of contrast against the kind of busier cat paper. But the past couple times I've used this layout, I've loved doing this where I do really, like, it looks very bold. I will just mat all of the layers in black. And I just love the bold look this gives. I am just always pleased with these pages when they have like the juicy bold outlines around everything. So I'm doing that again on this one. I really like this page up until like halfway through, and then I think I get a little stuck because I put myself in a corner with which embellishment I'm determined to use and not leaving myself much space. Part of it is because I did do such a wide border around the outside of this layout with that cat paper, but I really wanted you to be able to see all of those cats, so it is what it is. I have two 4x6 photos here, and I knew I wanted to trim them down to 4x4, but even after trimming them down to 4x4, there was still some dead space in the photos, and because I did this big mat, I have a lot smaller area to embellish and layer and all of that stuff, so I decided to trim these photos down even smaller, and I think they end up like 3.5 by 3.5, which I think is a good size for them. And again, I will mat both of those photos in black as well. I was doing the same thickness of black mats around everything, but around the photo the mat almost seemed too thick, so I do go back and trim those mats a little bit smaller after I have the photos down because it just looks disproportional around these smaller photos. So it just takes me a minute to get all of that matted. I do have some gray and white scraps, like striped scraps from this collection to the side of the camera, and so I'm thinking I'll use those. But I'm really trying to keep this layout within this color scheme. I really like the white black, gray, and pink color scheme. This collection does have pops of like lime green, and I'm trying to avoid the lime green. I'm trying to keep it pretty monochromatic with just the pops of pink as the color. So I am keeping that in mind as I'm going through the different scraps and stuff. But this is where I kind of decide that gray mat around the photos is a little too thick, and I like this skinnier mat a lot better. But after I get that trimmed up, I definitely want these photos kind of overlapping. That'll also give me a little bit more space. There's a lot of empty space in that one photo with Avery. So I'm just going to overlap the picture of Gracie in that kind of empty corner. And now I'm going through those scraps. I don't want to use the same paper I've already used. So I kind of just have this gray stripe that I think will be a good paper to pull in, that will kind of pull those gray cats from that big mat into the middle of the page. I want to pull in some gray, especially because Gracie is a gray cat. But I think with all the bold black mats and then the tone on tone pink, I wanted something kind of different. So I'm trying to figure out how to use these gray stripes to create a layer, and I end up doing something like this where I take those two scraps and I kind of just make it seem like a longer scrap than it is, and I will mat those two together on black again just so it has that nice bold outline again. But this is kind of what I'm thinking layout wise. I like the photos kind of overlap the gray stripe. But I like having that pattern above and below, kind of breaking up the pink background. So I'm trimming them to be the same width, and then I will kind of figure out how much I need to trim from my black paper. I have like literally hundreds of these like cheap black cardstocks that come in the page protectors, so I'm always trying to find ways to use them. And this was a great page because I used it to mat all of these different pattern papers, which is nice. But I'm doing my lazy measuring here where I just crease the paper where I need to cut it. And that will be the mat for the gray layer, so you'll kind of see how I do that. But I'm glad I got so much of this black used up, I guess, because there's just so much of it in my stash. I'm never going to go through it all. So now that I know how long this scrap is going to be, I'm going to get both of these gray pieces glued onto this mat. I will glue the photos down, and then that's pretty much my paper layers. I really want to, I have in my head, I want to do a ton of embellishment because, like I said, I don't use this collection a lot, but I have the chipboard, the 12 by 12 chipboard, a 6 by 12 sticker sheet. I have the ephemera. I have almost an entire sheet of the puffy stickers, and I never use this collection, so when I do, I want to use all the things. But as you can see from how the layout is looking, there's not a ton of space to embellish. So I have to kind of figure out where I want to have the main embellishment, and it gets a little scattery, like Chamel's sticker sneeze, where there's just embellishment everywhere and it looks a little crazy. So I pull back a little bit and have to kind of figure that out. But I like this page so far. How it's looking here, I'm happy with. And I know for sure I want to use my black root beer float foam thickers because they are just my favorite big juicy black alphabet, and I love using it with this collection. So that's another thing. I have not left myself a ton of room. I have more than one photo I need to document. I'm using a giant thicker, and somehow I'm also supposed to get all of this embellishment on here, so that's kind of where I set myself up to fail a little bit. I left this asterisk paper out because I like to fussy cut those asterisks and have them be the bases for different embellishment clusters. And I've done that a lot in the past when I've used this collection, but I don't end up doing that on this one. But that's why that asterisk paper keeps sticking around because I keep thinking if I want to use that or not. But you can see all the embellishment I have to work here. And part of the reason, too, is like all of these cats I really want to use in all the cat themed stuff. Like they're kind of larger embellishments. So knowing I want a large title and then there's not much space, it just didn't really work. But I look for a while to try to figure out what I want to use. I'm really wanting to get one of the gray cats used up. And I really like this little black sentiment that says catitude. I thought it was really cute. So I'm going to go ahead and mat that on a scrap of pink because I'm thinking I can use that little word sentiment somewhere. So I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut that because I think that's funny. There's a lot of little day of the week cat puns that are in this collection. But I think the catitude is appropriate because my cat, out of all the family cats, has the reputation for being the queen bee, little queen of Sheba. That's what my mom calls her. She's a little princess. I spoiled her. She was a bottle baby that we rescued from one of the horse barns. And she was like, I spoiled her as a kitten. So she does have, she's not mean or anything. She doesn't bite or anything. But she does expect everyone to kind of work around her. She very much is that cat that lays in the middle of the room and expects everyone to clear a path. So I just thought it was an appropriate sentiment. But I'm going through all of the embellishment, trying to figure out what I want to use. I'm pulling out all of the green stuff because, again, I don't want any of that green. I love the green in this collection. I think it's really fun. But for the sake of the look of this page and the aesthetic I'm going for, I'm trying to figure out a way to not use any of that. And I don't think I'm using any of those asterisks either. So I'm just trying to go through and sort everything. That way the stuff I know I'm not going to use, I can go ahead and set it aside. So it's just less decision making for me later down the line. But yeah, I'm looking at the cats. I really like the cats. There's a bunch of heart stickers on the sticker sheet. So I definitely want to pull those in for the prompt. Because so far it's really just, there's a lot of hearts on that big frame with all the cats. But other than that, there's not really a lot of hearts so far. So I definitely want to get a decent amount of the heart stickers on the sticker sheet used up on here. But this is where I start trying to embellish. I know I want to use the catitude. I know I want to use a gray cat. I like this little pink speech bubble that just says meow, meow, meow. And I thought it would be funny coming out of my cat in the picture. But it just gets way too scattery, way too quick. Here's another gray cat head I think I'll have maybe at the top. And there's just too much happening. So I look at it for a minute before I decide I need to pull back a little bit. I don't end up using that speech bubble. I like the idea of having a cat in the upper right hand corner, but I don't know if I want it to be the same cat that I end up using in the lower left hand corner. And I end up using the big gray chipboard cat as my kind of main embellishment. So I just have to pull everything off for a second and restart because I wasn't liking how it was looking. I actually think I get stuck with the embellishment and I go to my title here in a minute because I just got a little bit flustered trying to figure out what I wanted where because it was just looking silly. So now I'm trying to figure out spacing. I like where I have my layers, but I know this alphabet is really big. So I'm trying to figure out where on this sheet I want the alphabet. I don't really want the alphabet running onto the cat frame. So I end up shifting the gray stripe in the photo layer up to the kind of the top right portion of this pink paper and then having my title along the bottom. So it's starting to look a little bit crowded. I'm hoping because this is a big alpha, it doesn't seem like it's too tight. Because there's a lot of spacing between the letters and stuff. But this is where it kind of starts to tilt and it just starts looking a little bit different than I thought it would. But I love this alphabet. This is my favorite alphabet of all time. I love root beer float. Have a couple packs of it in black. I go through a ton of it in white, and I'm pretty sure I need a new pack in white because I don't think I can spell any more letters in it right now. But this font in black is just beautiful. So Gracie is my cat's name. That's all I'm going to label it. I will do a little bit of journaling just explaining about the haircut and why I'm documenting this for Avery. But I think that looks nice, and it's really the only place I could put that title. I could have ran it down the side, but I typically don't like to do that if the letters are different widths, and just with there being an I thought it would look weird. So I'm going to stick with it down here. I'm going to go ahead and glue down these layers because it's really the only place I can put them, and then I need to figure out the rest of my embellishments. So still thinking about the cat and the speech bubble. I'm thinking maybe if the cat goes down by the title, I can do the speech bubble by the die cut cat instead of the cat in the picture. But that wasn't really spacing and looking how I wanted it to. I liked the idea of having the cat down here just because I wasn't sure how it would look having the cat where I had it placed before. And I have this gap next to the title, so I'm thinking it makes sense to put ephemera there. But what I end up doing after I hem and haw a little bit is moving the cat on top of the title, and I like that a lot better. I like that it kind of links the photo in with the title. But I figured I can just do my journaling to the right of the title in that open space so I don't have to worry about embellishment. So now that I've figured out what cat I'm going to use, I'm using this big gray cat from the chipboard sheet. I'm going to layer the catitude on top of it, which I think is really sweet. And then I realized I definitely wanted to get multiple puffy stickers on this layout. So I'm going to go ahead and go through the ones that are pink and black. I'm avoiding anything with green. You can see on the cat chipboard that the whiskers are green, and that's really bothering me. So I will go in at some point and just use a black pen to go over the whiskers. If you look really hard, you could still really see the green, but I didn't want to make the whiskers look too clunky by trying to fill in all the green. So I just outlined the whiskers with black to hopefully take away that green look. But I just decided to do 3 puffy stickers running up on top of the left-hand photo, and then 3 puffy stickers running horizontally below the right-hand photo. And that way I kind of get puffy stickers in 2 different areas. I'm using 6 of them, which is nice. There were like 30 of them on that sticker sheet. And again, I'm using these products for the first time in a while. I'm really trying to dig into multiple different things. So I'm using a chipboard thing. I'm using puffy stickers. This was a die cut, a little catitude die cut. So I definitely now need to use up some things from the sticker sheet, and then I think I'll be happy. I think I'm just putting some foam dots behind that catitude so that the part that runs off of the chipboard cat will be straight. But I'm going to go ahead and commit and glue down this chipboard cat. And then I think I go in with the heart stickers. I'm trying to remember what I did next. I may actually do journaling next. I don't remember. I literally just made this page before I did this voiceover, and I can't remember already. I'm going to do the journaling. So I'm going to doodle my lines so I can write straight. And it's really short and to the point, but I just said you didn't quite know what to think of Gracie's haircut. Gracie after her haircut. And that way I kind of note why I'm documenting it. And it kind of explains Avery's face in the one photo. So I'm just going to write that out. And then I do heart stickers, I'm pretty sure. I know I have some heart epoxy or enamel shapes that I really wanted to use, but again, I don't use this collection that often. There's heart stickers, so I figured I'd go ahead and just get the stickers used up. And the heart epoxy shapes that I had were pink, and they were either a pink that didn't go with this collection at all, or like almost blended in too much where you wouldn't be able to see it on the meow paper. So I'm just taking a black and a gray heart from the sticker sheet to go down by the chipboard cat, and then eventually I will figure out I do want a cat in the upper right hand corner, but again, I don't want to use that same gray cat. This is where I'm stenciling over the whiskers because they were bothering me. But you'll see, I think I do grab the gray cat head again, and I just don't like that it's too matchy. And it will be going over the gray stripe paper, so I kind of wanted some contrast with a different color. So I ended up going with this little pink outline of a cat head instead, and do a couple hearts by that. And this wasn't really necessary. I think this kind of throws off the visual triangle a little bit because I have this chipboard cat and then the 2 areas with the puffy stickers. But I just felt like I needed something up there, and I wasn't really wanting to add more layers. I was really trying to finish this page out with just whatever embellishment I could use. So this is what I came up with. I I think because there aren't any features on the cat, it makes it a little bit more simplistic, and it's hopefully not too distracting. But this gave me an opportunity to mirror what I did with the chipboard cat and add a couple more hearts. So, and then I thought it was done, and then I decided I wanted one more thing somewhere else on the page. This is where it starts to look really scattery, but it is what it is. I decided to add a little mouse next to the journaling. I think this helps draw your eye to the journaling, but I think it's a fun little thing. If it was my own page, maybe I wouldn't have done this, but I can kind of just picture Avery and Bennett looking through these pages and pointing out the little mouse, and I like that it's a little surprise for them. But here are the close-ups. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you see what everyone else did for the heart prompt today. They are linked in the playlist below. See you next time. Bye.